So the three newcomers, what do you think about like Charles Hall, for example?
Charles has been good. I think he brings a lot of experience. You know, he plays at a speed, a high level speed, you know, pretty elite speed. I think he has great ball skills. Obviously, a lot of experience is something that we need in that room. So, you know, I have high expectations for him. I think he's fitting in well. He's bringing a sense of professionalism with him, you know, as far as the classroom and focusing on, you know, how to transition from the classroom to the field. So, you know, I'm really happy with his progression.
He's pretty well built for a guy with his speed, right? It seems, yeah.
Yeah, he's strong. You know, we talk about, you know, his build and his ability with the ball in his hand. You know, he brings a different dynamic, something that we haven't had in our room particularly. So, you know, we'll be looking to try to highlight some of those skills that he has and his strength. You know, also in the return game, you know, he'll be able to help us in the kick return and punt return game as well.
What led you to add Zeke, and what have you thought about him so far?
I mean, it's a different type of speed, you know, and that's something that we really focused in the offseason, is trying to, you know, get our room faster, and he provides that right away. Young player, you know, not a ton of experience, so, you know, with that comes some learning curve, and we just got to be willing to work through that with him and put him in a position to use his skill set and where he's comfortable and he can play fast.
Cam's the most known entity from the three, so how is what you've seen in the past from him measured up to how he's looking? Good.
You know, he's a great leader, obviously a ton of experience. I think his ability to be able to talk to the boys about what it's like playing in the SEC brings a lot of value into the room. And also his work ethic. You know, he's a guy who understands that he's not the biggest, fastest guy, but, you know, he's still very productive based off of his preparation and how he's able to, you know, put that onto the field. So when guys watch him work and then watch him go practice, I think they understand what that looks like and what it, you know, transforms into, which is production onto the field.
And with everybody in the starter, how do you feel that he's kind of gotten used to the receiving core and they've adjusted to him to this point in camp?
Yeah, they did most of that work in the offseason. You know, that was big for us. I think Emory, when he first got here, really took it upon himself to gather those guys and, you know, find those parks and those places where lights are on the field to be able to throw those extra, you know, passes and routes. And, you know, whether if they're out there for 30 minutes or an hour, you know, just the camaraderie of them having a leader that's grabbing them and wanting to work, I think it speaks volume to obviously his character and his leadership, but also the boys wanting to buy into the fact that, hey, we got a guy here that we believe in, and you know, we're going to do everything we can to make it work.
Coach, when you lose a guy like a leader in your room like Ricky, you know, a couple months ago in the spring, do you feel like a certain player in your group has stepped up to kind of be that leader, and if so, who is that?
You know, I wouldn't necessarily say one player, and I think that's what college football really is. You know, it's different than NFL when you got 6 guys, maybe 6 receivers on your roster versus 16. You know, so it's a group effort. We're going to have to roll guys through. Guys are going to have to be healthy. Guys are going to have to play fast, and that's the product we want to put on the field. So it's going to be a collective effort. Obviously, some games, some guys get more opportunities, and they might shine more than others, but overall, the whole group needs to be prepared to play, and they need to prepare like starters.
There's so much untapped with Elijah that you're just trying to squeeze out. And so, how's that process unfolding now?
It's a process, you know, and it's kind of what you get with a lot of those elite players like that, athletically. I can say that, you know, he's been doing very well. You know, I'm really proud of his progress. I think he's kind of taken on the role, understanding that the old Elijah cannot move forward into this year, and he's really done good of trying to wipe that and start new and start fresh. Obviously, new offensive coordinator helps that. Brian Billick being around really helps that as well. And he's just growing up, and that's part of the process in college football. And, you know, you got to take him from young to old, and, you know, he's been doing a good job.
So what would you say is your overall sense of the readiness of your group when you're just less than 2 weeks out?
Yeah, I think we're ready. You know, and I say that reluctantly, but especially without having the experience. But you know, I love what the group has done. They've really bought into the opportunities that they have collectively. I think nobody's really taken on the pressure by themselves, so it allows them to play free and fast. And I think the process that we put them through as far as learning the offense has been very thorough. So I think that, we'll have minimal mistakes, and guys can just have fun playing. And I think this group really needs that, and you'll be able to see their talent like really, on display in the game.
Coach, when you say that you have 16 receivers in the room and you're just trying to figure out who's going to be doing what at different times, when you're 2 weeks out, how do you get them ready? Is there something specifically you're looking for as far as, who's going to be rotated in person, things like that?
Yeah, we pretty much understand what that looks like. We obviously the back 8 is the younger guys, some walk-on guys, and the front 8 are the guys that are going to handle the bulk of the rotation, and they're understanding their role just based off of practice, rotation, and repetition. So I think guys are buying into that, and that's what's good. Some guys are very good in open field. Some guys are going to be elite in the red zone. Some guys might just be third down guys, but I think them starting to understand how we're rotating them through, the looks that they're getting, they're buying into that part of it and not trying to bite off too much than individually they can handle.
How much will performance against NAU or maybe even Oklahoma State ultimately determine how that sifts itself out among the top guys?
Yeah, that's big. That very first game, we're not overlooking NAU at all. We're spending a lot of time on that game plan, making sure that we're getting the ball in the right guy's hands and putting guys in that right position. Obviously, it's a fluid situation depending on who we're playing, different looks and defenses and strengths and weaknesses. So it can vary and it could change, but those first 2 games are definitely going to be a good benchmarker for what we're going to look like.
And then you talk about, obviously, the guys having fun and wanting to get in there, but a lot of formations. It's a team that can run the ball. You being a receiver, and you want your receivers to want the ball, but what are some things you're saying to them on the sidelines? Not to not engage, but to keep them engaged and just be like, hey, we're running the ball now, but you're going to get the ball.
Yeah, and I don't really tell them they're going to get the ball. Like, sometimes that's just what it is, and it's more about buying into the wins and being part of that win. And I think these kids particularly just want to be a part of that. Not necessarily the man, which is a different mentality than what we've had in the past, and something that I teach in the room. Like, hey, in the run game, you need to be an important part of that. You are a big factor of that. Those runs are not explosive if you're not blocking on the perimeter and not covering guys up. That's also recognition on TV when you're the guy blocking and it's a touchdown block. So, those little things that, it's kind of lightens them. Oh, yeah, they are talking about me covering up the corner as the back's running behind me. So those type of things, keeping them involved with that, and they understand that, and it's mandatory for me. They got to be able to block, and it just helps them to play action run game as well.
Thanks, Coach.